These are the worked out solutions for the study guide for Algebra B, Test 3, Quarter 1. So let's take a look at our first problem here. Here they're asking us to solve this equation. We want to collect some like terms, so that's what I'm going to do right here on the right-hand side. And so I'll collect those two terms. I'm still left with a 7 equals -7, but when they're opposite signs, I'm going to subtract those two numbers, more negatives than positives, that makes a -2u. From this point, I'll go ahead and add that 7 to both sides. And so that leaves me with a 14 equaling -2u. Make sure you bring down that minus sign with the term. So when I divide by -2 on both sides, I'm left now with a -7 equals u. That would be my answer. Next one, I'm going to take this -3x and a -x, collect those two numbers. Since they are the same sign, I'll end up adding them. So -4x plus 8 equals -12. So from this point, I could go ahead and subtract the 8 from all sides. When I take that 8 away, it leaves me still with this -4x. Again, common mistake is people don't bring down their signs, so make sure you do that. And it equals -20. So from this point, I'm going to divide by -4, and the two negative signs will cancel, and 4 goes into 20 5 times. Next one is going to ask us to use that distributive property and distribute over that difference. So when I do that, I have 5k minus 10. Make sure you multiply the 5 and the 2 there. That's a common mistake on this problem. Here I would add the 10 to all sides. Since I have opposite signs, I subtract. More negatives than positives made it a negative, and it equals 5k. So I go ahead and divide by 5 on all sides, and I've got a fraction. So we leave the answer as reduced fractions, so we can just write it as -2/5 equals x, or k in this case. Well, the next problem is a little bit more difficult because we have to take that -3 and distribute it over that addition. So when I do that, I'm left with a 4x minus 18 minus 3x minus 1 equals 2. So I can collect some like terms. I've got a -3x, positive 4x. That means I subtract those two numbers. I'm left with x. And then I have this -18 and a -1, which actually add, because they're the same sign, to make a -19. And this all equals 2. So I go ahead and do the opposite operation here of adding 19 to both sides. And that leaves me with x equals 21. Next problem is a problem with variables on both sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to move the variables to one side. So when I do that, I collect the variables together. I have now 3a minus 17 equals 1. So now it's just a two-step equation. So I have to first add the 17 to both sides. And that leaves me with that 3a. 3a equals 18. So from there, all I have to do is divide by 3 on both sides. And I have my answer, a equals 6. Next one is similar, except we have to use the distributive property first. So we'll do that on both sides of the equal sign. So it leaves me with 2x plus 8 on the left-hand side. Over here, 3 times x is 3x. 3 times -2 is -6. So from there, I'm just using opposite operations. So I'll go ahead and add that 6 to all sides. At the same time, I could also subtract the 2x from both sides. And so what that'll leave me with is a 14 equaling x, and that would be my answer. Notice how I canceled out the x on the left-hand side, canceled out the constant on the right. So I'm left with x's on one side, constants on the other. Let's take a look at the last 3 problems, the next 3 as well. So here we're trying to find x. So what we're going to do is take all the numbers, all the different angles, 3x plus 4 being one angle, 32 being the other, and 60 being the last. And when I sum all the angles in a triangle, it always equals 180 degrees. So from this point I can go ahead and collect some like terms. I've got a positive 4, positive 32, and a positive 60. So we'll just start with these two. So I'll bring down the 3x plus 36 plus 60 equals 180. So again, these two terms are going to combine together as 1. So I'm left with that 3x plus 96 equals 180. So from this point I'll subtract that 96 from all sides. Again, make sure you borrow here. And so when I do that, borrowing, I'm left here with a 4 and an 8. So 84 equals 3x. Now the rule with division of dividing by 3's is if the sum of the digits adds to make a number 3 goes into, then you can divide by 3. So 3 goes into 8, goes in there 2 times with 2 left over. 3 goes into 24 8 times, so 28. 28 degrees, we'll even put a unit there, is the solution. Here it says Jorge gets $2 off the price of each pack of paper. At the store, he buys 3 packs of paper and 1 notebook for $2.25 and spends a total of $7.50. Alright, so we've got this paper. He's going to add on a notebook, and it's going to equal a total. So let's try filling in what we know. We're going to have an expression for the paper. There's a lot going on with that. So $2 off the price of each pack of paper. Each pack of paper means that we're going to start with the paper. P is our unknown for paper. P equals the cost of the paper. So we'll start with that, and we're taking away $2. Then it says he buys 3 packs of this paper. So we're going to take this expression, since he gets $2 off each pack of paper, we've got to put that in parentheses, because that's the amount that he's going to pay for the paper, and he buys 3 of them, plus the notebook for $2.25 equals the total for $7.5. So now we're ready to solve. So to solve this, I'm going to subtract that $2.25 from both sides. At the same time, I'm going to go ahead and do this distributive property here. So I got 3p minus 6 equals, and on this side I got 525. So from that point, I could go ahead and do some opposite operations. I could add the 6 to all sides. So that leaves me with this 3p equals 1125. And then from that point, we can divide by 3. So I can use that same rule. Do the digits add to make a number 3 goes into? 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 5 is 9. So yes, it should go in there. So let's do the division. 3 goes into 11 3 times. So bring that decimal point up with 2 left over. Goes into 22 7 times with 1 left over. Goes into 15 5 times. So 375 was the pack of paper before it was reduced. So what is the regular price? That means before it was reduced. So that would be our answer. If we wanted the reduced price, we'd have to subtract $2 from this. Next problem says a blue car travels at a constant speed of 55 miles an hour. So 55 times the number of hours is the speed. So this is the speed of blue car. So remember, distance equals rate times by time is the formula for distance. Rate times by time. That's what we're doing here. Rate times by time. H is number of hours. So we'll just say H equals hours. So it says a green car is 1 mile behind the blue car. 1 mile behind the blue car, so this is the green. 1 mile behind, so I'll just put a -1 there. Since it's behind, that's why I put the minus. And traveling the same road in the same direction at a constant rate of 65 miles an hour. So 65 times the hours gives me a distance. How much time will it take the green car to catch the blue car? Alright, so we want catch means be at the same spot. So that's why I set them equal to each other. So I go ahead and solve by doing some opposite operations here. I'll subtract that 65h from both sides. And so now I'm left with a negative 10h equals negative 1. So from this point, all I have to do is divide by negative 10, and I get my answer. So hours equals 1/10. 1/10 of an hour is all it's going to end up being. Now, if I wanted to find out how many minutes that is, well, there's 60 minutes equals or in 1 hour. So I could multiply by that 1/10 of an hour. Hours would cancel out. 10 goes into 60 6 times. So 6 minutes or 1/10 of an hour. Either answer is fine. So those are the problems you'll see on this week's test. Good luck.